Welcome back, and in this demo lesson I'm going to show you how to initially secure an AWS account. What you're going to do is attach a virtual MFA device to the account root user of the general account, which adds an additional layer of security. Now before we begin, let's explore what this means. We're going to be working on the general AWS account with the account root user, and let's pretend for a second it already has some resources which have been created within it, though for now our accounts are completely clean. Now with this example, if you're trying to log into this general AWS account, then so far you will have used the account root user and you will have provided the account root user email address and the associated password, and this is known as single factor or one factor authentication because it's using one type of secret, in this case the password, something which Julie in this example knows. Now there's a problem with this method though. If in some way the account root user credentials were leaked, maybe via espionage or social engineering, then a bad actor could use them and easily log into the account in Julie's place and potentially delete all of the resources in the account, so all of the cat pictures which you've been storing inside AWS, or create new resources to farm Bitcoin, so something which will cost you money and make the clown lots of money in the process. Now we can prevent this by using multi-factor authentication, and this means adding a second factor, something other than the secret which Julie knows. Now in addition to this, we're using something that Julie has, a physical MFA device or virtual MFA device which is running within an application on her mobile phone. Now it means that in order to log in, an MFA code is needed, something which is valid for a single use and changes every 30 seconds or so. Now this means that if our evil clown only has the username and password, or if he has an older invalid code, then he will be denied entry into the general account using the account root user. In this case we're using two factors, something that Julie knows, so her password, and something that Julie has. Now we could, depending on the system, add even more factors. Certain systems allow you to use biometrics such as a fingerprint or retinal scan, which in this example is something that Julie is, and that makes it even harder for anyone but Julie to access a sensitive system. With AWS we can use an MFA token system, and that's what we're going to be configuring next. So let's move over to the console and get started attaching a virtual MFA device to the account root user of the general AWS account. So to configure that, what we need to do is to click on this drop down and then select My Security Credentials. You're taken to a different area of the console, and don't worry that it says Identity and Access Management. This is simply the console where you configure your security credentials. But because we're using this drop down and because we're logged in as the account root user of the general AWS account, then we're configuring the security credentials for the account root user. So go ahead and click on multi-factor authentication and then click on Activate MFA. Now at this point you've got various different options. You can select a virtual MFA device, and this uses an authenticator application which is installed on your mobile device or computer. If you're using a browser which supports hardware tokens such as a YubiKey, then you will be able to select this option. Or alternatively you can use another hardware token such as a Gemalto token, but these are hardware tokens which you order from AWS or elsewhere. Now at this point we're going to select Virtual MFA Device and then click on Continue. In order to set up this virtual MFA, you need to click on Show QR Code and then scan the QR code with your virtual MFA application. Now examples of these include the Google Authenticator, 1Password, Authy, or many more. I've included some examples attached to this lesson, but you do need to download an Authenticator application for your mobile phone or desktop. Once you've done that, what you'll need to do is to click on Show QR Code, scan the code, and it will create an entry within that virtual MFA application. Now, you will have one entry for each identity in each account. So at this point, we're going to create a virtual MFA for the account root user of the general AWS account. Later in the course, when you create the production account, you'll be creating another entry within your MFA application for the account root user of the production AWS account. And then later still, you'll be creating another MFA for the I am admin identity in both of those accounts. So by the end of this part of the course, you'll have 4 entries within your MFA application. One for the account root user of the general account, one for the account root user of the production account, and then one for the I am admin user in each of the general and production accounts for a total of 4. But now let's worry about setting this up for the account root user of the general account. So click on Show QR Code, scan that code, and you'll be presented with an MFA code which constantly changes. Once you've done that, you need to save that in your MFA application and then enter 2 consecutive codes in these boxes. So you'll see that once you scan this QR code and save it, it will generate a code which changes periodically, and you need to enter 2 of those codes. Now, I'm going to keep all of this secret for security reasons, but you need to follow this process. So click on Show QR Code, scan the code with your Authenticator application, enter the first code into box number 1, and then the second code into box number 2. Now, this might take you a couple of seconds, so pause the video. You'll need to wait for your Authenticator application to generate 2 different codes, and once it has, go ahead and click to move on to the next screen. That process has been completed successfully, and you should see this positive dialog saying you have successfully assigned a virtual MFA. Click on Close, and then click on this drop down, and we're going to test that the process has been completed successfully. So go ahead and click on Sign Out, and then click to log back in to the console. You'll need to make sure that root user is selected, and then enter your account root user email address for the general AWS account. Go ahead and click to move on. You might be again prompted for another security check. Just enter those characters, and if you can't see them clearly, click on refresh or click on the speaker symbol to do this with audio. Click to move on. You'll need to enter your chosen password and then click. This time you'll need to enter your MFA code, and this will be contained within your Authenticator application. So locate that code and enter it. And this code changes periodically, and it's only valid for a one-time use. So it means that even if your account email address and password were leaked, nobody can log into this account root user without a valid MFA code. Go ahead and click to log into the console, and you'll be successfully logged back into the AWS console. Only now, to do this, from this point onwards, you'll need something that you know, which is the account root user email and password, as well as something that you have, which is the one-time password. Now again, for production usage, you should probably use a hardware token, but for setting up training accounts, using a virtual MFA device is absolutely fine. And again, I've attached some good quality software applications to this lesson which you can use for this training or for any other MFA style applications. Now at this point we've finished everything that we needed to do in this demo lesson. Remember, when you're setting up any other AWS accounts and any other identities within those accounts, you need to add another entry within your MFA application. Don't reuse the one-time password that you've just added for the account root user of the general account. You need to add additional entries into your Authenticator application for any other identities in any other AWS accounts. And by the end of this section of the course, you should have a total of 4. 1 each for the account root user of the general and production account, so 2 for the account root users of those accounts, and then 1 each for the I am admin user of the general and production accounts, so 2, 1 each for each of those, for a total of 4. So by the end of this section, you should have 4 virtual MFAs configured, and that's a good thing to check once you've completed this section of the course. But at this point, that's everything I want you to do in this demo lesson, so go ahead and complete this video, and when you're ready, I look forward to you joining me in the next.